So here's the thing, all right? You're blaming your funnel, your content, your lead gen, but let's call a spade, okay? The reality here is that you don't know who you actually should be helping, and it's just really messing your business up day in and day out, honestly. And that's just putting you in a tough spot where you think you know what you're doing, but you're just you're putting all this energy into selling basically, and it's turning out to be a complete waste of time. All right, so let's cut through the fluff for you here, right? Because really, everybody and their mother in the online space is screaming about lead generation, sales funnels, new tactics, this, right? And just kind of new content methods, but no one is talking about the real problem, that bleeding neck problem behind your inconsistent sales. Reality is, it's not the funnel, right? It's not the algorithm as much as you want to believe it, right? And it's the fact that you yourself, you are trying to sell to people you don't actually understand, right? I've been hammering this point home heavily inside a brand of clients lately. So honestly, like when you get clear on who that person actually is, not just kind of like what niche they're in, but really how they think, what they want, and what they're actually actively struggling with, you actually end up where you stop wasting time, you stop guessing, and everything starts moving a whole lot faster. All right. And that's what I want to really jump into and dive into and show you here today. All right. What's going on? I'm Justice Severin. I make these videos for coaches, experts, creators, high ticket service buyers who are really looking to build a wildly profitable personal brand or just a brand as a whole for themselves. They can go ahead and create the lifestyle business they truly want. All right. So this is no difference here today. We're cracking into a good one. If you're new, definitely let me know down below in the comments. Love seeing folks who are new. If you got questions throughout this, do not hesitate to reach out. I'm always responding as fast as I can, if you will, here too, whenever YouTube dings my phone with the notifications. And then from there, basically, if you're returning, hit that subscribe button. You know you like this stuff, all right? Tap in so you get it faster. Tap in so you can really take what I'm giving you, implement it, make some more money, and then either come work with me or at the end of the day, just keep on taking it for free and do your thing. I'm not mad either way, all right? So I want to jump into this, though, regardless. Number one out the gates, you've got to know your avatar. Knowing your avatar makes every part of your business easier and faster. It's like this is just a true non-negotiable. I think that so many people, we want to think that we know everything about, we trust our gut too often. I've talked a lot about this a lot, where it's like we feel like our gut, and our gut is probably one of our gut, our intuition as entrepreneurs. It is arguably one of the most important pieces, one of the most important kind of aspects, assets that we really have, because we need this. And but the problem a lot of the time is that we are trusting our gut without any data, and that is a very dangerous game to play, right? Because the problem also too is like you can have data, but you're just kind of interpreting in the way that you want. You have to really be unbiased with your intuition. You have to be unbiased when it comes to making these gut decisions. And knowing your avatar is going to help you to really point you in the right direction here. Like, let me give you this example. Imagine you're driving across the country, right? You're driving across the country. Maybe you're out here in Massachusetts, starting where I'm at, and you're driving all the way to California across the way, right? And you don't know where you're going. Like maybe you've done that. Maybe you've driven that way before. So kudos to you if you know how to make that long drive without looking at a GPS or a map. You're a rare breed. But let's just assume that's not the case. So you don't know where you're going. How do you know what the roads? How do you know what roads to take here? Like, how do you know what gear to pack? How do you know what to stop for? Like, if you don't, you don't know how long you're staying. Like, that is really what's happening in most of your businesses right now. All right. And that's why I just say it's like, the reality is you've got the funnels, right? You've got funnels, you've got some content, maybe even a few sales coming in, but it's shaky, it's inconsistent, it's draining. And it's because there's no target, right? The moment I stopped creating broad types of content and really started speaking directly towards my ideal avatar, right? For myself, right? Coaches, experts who are actively showing up, who actually want to sell high ticket, who already have some skin in the game, right? They potentially already invested. They're already trying to implement some marketing tactics. Like I have to be razor sharp and clear on who it is I want. And I have to understand the levels that they're at. Right? I want to meet them where they're at, and I I need to know where that destination is. Right? That's what changed everything for myself when it came down to actually marketing. Right? No longer was I playing the volume game. This whole quality over quantity people say this because it's accurate. Quantity over quality will get you ruined, right? I started playing for quality, and it takes a lot less effort to win when you're playing that game. It takes a lot less effort to win when you're heading in that direction, when the car is steering that way towards town instead of the opposite. Because all my efforts are no longer just being thrown into the void, right? Like it's falling on ears that are already sipping the Kool-Aid, as opposed to falling on deaf ears, which a lot of you are having your content to, right? I wasn't just throwing it into the void there. I'm really speaking to them, speaking to that ideal avatar. I have a student, Alan, where he's closed over $100,000 cash collected. This was back like a year or so ago, so he's done far more than that at this point here. He's still a student of mine, and he runs his business with just one VA, one virtual assistant. Like that wouldn't be possible if he was all over the place. Like, and I'll tell you what, that wasn't possible because he just has a great funnel. It's because he was locked in, right? We locked in his avatar and we doubled down on it. And now he's closing 4 to 5K deals regularly, doing it with ease, right? So if you're bouncing from strategy to strategy, but the reality is like you just haven't sat down to really map this out, map out who your person is, who is your avatar, how are they thinking, right? You're probably just going to be running in circles. This is just a harsh reality, right? Like I saw a coach last week with the funnel for, helping creatives unlock their potential, right? But then I went to their page and it looked like just some kind of a lifestyle blog, right? It's like zero clarity. I felt like I'm watching Jimmy again, just kind of talking to everyone and helping no one. Just like don't be Jimmy. You've probably heard me say this before. Don't be Jimmy, all right? Like it's like jumping on a dating app and just putting I like people in your bio. Like, good luck. Good luck, right? I'm glad I'm not in that dating app phase, but regardless, like it's the same approach, right? So actually, I even want you, even if you need to pause the video for a second here, like grab a note on your phone, right? Grab a piece of paper, write this down. Like, who do I help? What do they want most right now? And what are they actively doing online? Because the harsh reality is if you can't answer that in 30 seconds, we just found your gap. We just found your gap. All right. So here's the 3 phases of avatar clarity that I want you to realize and be aware of. Number 1 is guessing, right? A lot of you here are guessing, right? This is when you're making it up in your head. You're trusting your gut and that intuition off of zero data, right? Phase number 2, reacting, right? This is based on who responds, but without structure. You're heading in the right direction, but you're kind of like, I view it this way. A lot of the times we just don't go back and review our data, right? So you could be getting into conversations on a consistent basis and you're making decisions off of what you feel. And what you feel probably is heading in the right direction. But things tend to change and the clarity tends to become a lot brighter when you actually go back and look at it. Go back and look and truly review. And this doesn't take much time, we're too lazy to do it. And not even that we're too lazy, we're not prioritizing it. Being a great business strategist, all that really is, it just means that you're really good at prioritizing the one thing instead of being distracted with all the noise that happens in the business, right? And so by being able to tap into those priorities, it makes life so much simpler for you because now imagine how much more effective you'll be if you can just double down on that one core area. That one core area that if you focus on it, the most good will happen. The problem with a lot of businesses out there is that they are struggling to find that one priority and they have priorities, which in a sense, by definition, is an oxymoron. All right. You need to flip that on its head and have that one priority. And so for a lot of you, getting this nailed in is the priority, but you're skipping over because you think that there's a bunch of other things that need to be done. But meanwhile, you're just hurting your conversion rates before the conversation's even started because you're talking to the wrong people. This is huge here, right? Your clarity determines your conversion rate, not your follower count. Your follower count is not the issue here, right? I remember I got interviewed by a mentor of mine way back when, where I had my first 30K month, and they were like, Justice hit his first 30K month with only 200 group members. I had a Facebook group I was running, it had 200 group members in it. And I remember thinking like, well, the reality is that's not my strategy just to grow my group. So, it's just a cool marketing angle, but this is the truth. And so, because I knew I didn't need the masses, I just needed the right people. It's that quality over quantity mentality. I've been sipping that Kool-Aid for a long time, and the reality is it's just helped me ever since, right? So let me I'll break down even further for you in a sense, like kind of what I'm looking for in my avatar, so you can even like have a better understanding for yourself. Like for one, like for me, I want someone who actually like considers themselves a coach, a mentor, a guide on that side for people, right? Like in the sense of where like it says it in their bio, their handle, their content, they're talking about. Like I want people that I want people also that, you know, they're doing talking head videos. They actually show up. Like I'm not big into the faceless trend, to be honest with you here. And I've had students that are faceless, right? I still have some that technically are, but they know where I stand on that. Like I think that they would be getting better results if they were not faceless. Building a true personal brand, right? You know, I want people who've posted within the past few weeks, right? People who are active, right? You know, maybe people in a sense that have under 20,000 followers, right? And they are, but once again, they are active. You know, I want people who are using kind of niche hashtags when they're posting and things like that. They're not just people who are putting themselves under the large umbrella, right? You know, they're looking for lead gen, sales support, content help. They're not looking for generic tips. They want true results. And I'll even put this here as a piggyback off of that. Here's where a lot of people get this wrong, right? A lot of people get this wrong, and I helped kind of course correct them with this one simple tweak. What I just broke down, that these are examples of what I'd call my unicorn avatar. What I do not do is make it a hard and fast rule that if somebody does not check every single one of those boxes, they fall outside of that, outside of those buckets, that I will refuse to work with them. All right. That's where people shoot themselves in the foot. They think they have to check these boxes or else I'm not working with them. And that is not the case, right? I view it like playing darts, right? Like, yes, we are going for the bullseye. But the reality is, if you shoot for the bullseye and you get a little bit outside of that, I don't play darts here, but like there's like that little ring around the bullseye, and you still get really good points for that, right? Don't ask me how many points, I couldn't tell you, but you still get really good points for that there. We need to view our avatar in the same way, right? When you're dialed into the who it is you're talking to, these things start popping up left and right for you the right things start popping up for you correctly over and over consistently, right? Let me tell you what happens even when you kind of get this part right. Your funnel, right? It starts converting with less traffic. Your lead magnets, they start actually getting more downloads. Your DMs get way less awkward because you're actually on the same page before they even start talking. Your sales process speeds up and you're not stuck chasing people anymore. They actually start raising their hands, right? And because when you build everything with your avatar in mind, you're actually creating an ecosystem designed for them. This is something where like it was an immense light bulb moment for me when, because so early on, I was always just trying to talk to so many different types of people. And I was doing well, getting sales. You know, I remember hitting my first 100K online, 300K online. You know, I'm trying to think. It's like when I started getting between like my first 500K to $1 million online, it was around that time that I really wanted to hone in on this. And I think it just turned into something so beautiful for me because when you come in with the right baseline, the right foundation of who that avatar is, you start, all of a sudden, I just realized how congruent my offer became with that person. A lot of times we struggle to have a great offer because we're not speaking to the right person or we're trying to speak to so many different people. And this offer cannot be a no-brainer because of that, right? Because we're trying to, for me, I remember before I started working just with like kind of coaches and, you know, service providers, consultants, experts, I was working with like affiliate marketers and coaches because that's the world that I came from. You know, in 2020, I saw my initial success becoming an affiliate as an affiliate marketer. You know, I was kind of rising the ranks, super affiliate. People wanted, you know, I was getting interviewed. People wanted some help from me. Transitioned into kind of taking what I was doing in that realm and spun it off into the niche that I kind of realized that I just like working with the most, the avatar that I like working with the most. And what I've realized and I'll tell you what, over time, in the beginning, I was really trying to serve both avatars because, you know, it's tough to break off of something that's been working so well for you. But I eventually did, and I just noticed the congruency was just so extreme. Once again, it was working going for both, but it's like I started to have to try a lot. I didn't have to try as hard all of a sudden because it was just so in alignment, right? And so that's why, once again, when you build the right avatar in mind, you're creating an ecosystem designed for them, like not just a business that looks good, but a business that actually moves. I have a student, Betty, who she had never had a coaching offer before, right? And when she came, she was just selling her services pretty much in a slightly different way. And so I helped her identify exactly who she could serve. And literally within the first 30 days of that offer, she closed her first $7,000. This happens because of having that extreme clarity. And then obviously when you have the clarity, it allows you to bolt on a strong offer, a core flagship offer, as I like to call it, a bestseller offer that makes it a lot easier to sell. In a sense, you can't create that bestseller offer unless you really have discovered who that avatar is you're looking to target. That's what makes the difference there, right? Now, you might be asking, like, okay, Justice, but how do I find this person? Sure, yeah, like how do I test it? And I would say start by looking at who is engaging with you right now. Who's actually responding to what you're going on? Who's watching your stuff all the way through? Who's asking questions? When you find these people, dig into their profile, start categorizing and putting them into a bucket. Right? Look at folks you have sold to before. What niche were they in? What were they dealing with? Right? Where did you kind of start to see that you've had the best conversion rate and double down there? Now, with that being said, I'm going to take this back to a point I made a little bit earlier here. We tend to believe that we have less leverage, less existing leverage than we do. The truth is, we just wish we had more, right? It's like, when you compare yourself to Tony Robbins, they have so much data that you could argue it's probably a lot easier for them to make decisions off of. The reality is you don't need that much data to make these decisions, though. And so once again, there's a big gap between Tony Robbins and a person who is just starting from ground zero. But like the real is that you already have enough. So stop being greedy, right? If you wish you had more clients to make these decisions based off of, but maybe you have none, like go as far back as you can in the sales process and start there, right? Think about who are people, maybe you don't have any clients, but who are the people that you've gone on calls with that have said no? Who are people that you've made offers to that have said no? Who are leads that you've talked to maybe didn't get anywhere, but they at least entertain a conversation for a little bit, right? Like let's say that, you've worked with 10 clients. Go back, study them, double down. But maybe you've had 0 clients. Cool. Your job is just different. That's all. Your first goal is to start the conversations, right? Start the conversation and then use those convos to refine your avatar, refine your process. And the reality is, if you haven't had any leads come in yet, then you need to start generating some as soon as possible, right? Like, I mean, the way that I teach, like even like our lead magnet strategy inside of Branded Clients, you can start getting leads within, in less than a day. Right? Like, and then from there, you can start to iron out your avatar based on real conversations. So there really is no excuse. You need to start taking action. Potentially, it's just a little bit more imperfect action, which I would argue it'll never be perfect. That's why I talk about things like having your forever evolving offer. Your offer will continue to grow. It's not, don't strive for perfection in day one. Have that minimum viable offer and then continue to sharpen it over time. Here's the truth, right? Your avatar is not a one and done assignment. It's a living process. It's a refining process. That's why I say it like this for avatars, right? Like you shouldn't strive to pivot, but don't be afraid if it makes sense for you to pivot slightly over time, right? The difference between someone stuck at $5,000 a month and someone, who's pushing 20K, 30K, 40K months and beyond, it's not always the offer, honestly. The difference in reality is, to me, how clear they are on who they're building everything for, because it just makes things so much easier. Focusing on having one priority compared to 20 priorities, it just makes things easier. You can have success going the other way, but if you want maximum success, make your life easier and do the smart thing. I'm telling you, lean into this stuff. Rewatch this video if you have to after and write out your current avatar. Audit each piece that I've said here. Right? Like, where are you aligned? Where are you off? Like, that'll tell you where your leverage currently lives. All right? I'm telling you, you're not too early. You're just too unclear. All right? I hope this made a lot of sense for you here today. I'm telling you, get this stuff early. Get this stuff right early, and it'll make a world of a difference. And, if you need help with this kind of stuff too, obviously, as well here, check out my B2C, aka my Branded Clients. Down in the description, it dives deeper into all this. There's no opt-in there. You can feel free to see all the details. I lay it all out there for you. And if you're looking for something that can kind of help you sell more to your ideal avatar as well too, that's something that should kind of completely for free to help you kind of crack that code. I've also got my client magnet funnel there. That's right down there in the description too. It really kind of also shows you some of the ideas of how I've generated over $1 million selling coaching and information with simple client acquisition strategies, just like this one in the last 3 years. All right, so that's all I got for now. Tap in, take action. I'll see you next time.